Hello, I just want to give a quick introduction to Terraform, right? So Terraform is basically an infrastructure as a code tool. What does that mean? So it means that if I want to provision or create an infrastructure, for example, maybe an S3 bucket or an EC2 instance, or maybe a lot of infrastructure, a lot of resources in some cloud providers or in some platform, I can use Terraform to create that infrastructure. So how will I use Terraform as a code, right? So I will just write a code or a script, right? It's the way it sounds here like as a code, but basically Terraform gives you guide on how to go about it. So for example, let me say if I want to create, maybe I want to create an S3 bucket, right? If I want to create an S3 bucket, normally using AWS console, I have to come here, click on S3, and then I'll click on create bucket here. And then I have to put all the information like the configurations, the name of the buckets, you know, put all the configurations, do I want to enable access control list? Do I want to block public access and all that? So, but with Terraform, I can just write follow the documentation, right? So if I come to registry and I can come to browse provider, and then in AWS, I'll just click on AWS, and then I'll come to documentation, and here I'll just type S3, right? And then I'll just come down to S3 buckets, and I'll just use this. This is an example. This is an example of a script that I can just use to create. So let's just do this, right? So what I will do is that I'll come to this Cloud9, this on AWS. This is like an environment like VS Code, right? But this an environment in AWS, right? So of course you should have Terraform installed. So if I type Terraform version. So for me, I already have Terraform installed, right? So if I want to create an S3 bucket using Terraform, right? So all I can do is I can just come here, I'll create maybe like a new directory. So let me just clear let me increase the um okay, so I'll do mkdir. So let me say new dir new directory one, right? So now if I come to my left, you will see the new directory one. So inside this directory, I can create a new file called main.tf, right? The tf is just the extension for Terraform, right? Main.tf. I'll hit enter, right? So once I hit enter, I can bring it here, right? I can bring it here, and then let me bring this one down. So now inside here now, I'll write like my code, right? Or, I'll write my code. So one thing I want you to note about Terraform, any Terraform script is that you always have two things. One, you have the provider, and then two, you have the resource that you want to create. The resource is like the infrastructure that you want to create. So in this case, my provider is going to be AWS, right? I want to provision this resource in AWS, right? So let me just come. There's another one I created. So there's another one I created. So the provider is just going to be, I can just put provider, and then I have AWS, right? Then I'll use this curly bracket. I'll close it so that I don't forget. And then I'll put the region that I want to provision the resource. The region is US West 2, right? So that's it for the provider, right? Then for the resource, instead of me having to type all this, I can come back to this place that I showed you. This is on Terraform documentation. And then I can just copy this, right? And then I'll come back here, paste it. I'll paste it. So you can change the name of the bucket to whatever you want, right? I can put like maybe, you know, my new, my new bucket. right? And then, you can just leave this. This is just a test, right? Just leave this and don't forget to save. I'll just save. I'll save it, right? So once I save it, that's it, right? All I have to do now is, so if I come back to S3, let's check the buckets that are there. So I just have only two buckets here. So if I run this script, you will see that it's going to automatically come to AWS and create the bucket. So let's do it. So let's do it. So first of all, we have to do Terraform init. Terraform init to initialize, um, Terraform initialized in an empty directory. So let me see. Okay, so I have to switch into this directory. So if you look on this environment, I have to switch into this new dir1. So cd new dir1, enter, then I will do Terraform init again. So let me clear first. Clear, then I'll do Terraform init. Terraform init. So initializing the backend, initializing provider logins. So you have to install, HashiCorp, AWS is going to, based on the provider, right? AWS is going to install all that. And then once it's done, we are going to do Terraform plan. So this is successful now. So let me clear. Then I'm going to do Terraform plan. Let me pull this up. Terraform Terraform plan. So Terraform plan will give us basically, will tell us ahead what Terraform is planning to do. And in this case, Terraform is just planning to create only one resource, right? Which is the S3 bucket. So it's going to tell us here, Terraform plan. Let's see. Terraform plan is going to tell us that this is what I want to do. I'm not yet doing it. Do you want me to? This is my plan. This is what I want to do. So if you look at it down here, it says plan one to add, right? I want to add only one resource, and it's going to give you the details of what, it says Terraform will perform the following action, you know, this bucket will be created, right? This bucket will be created. So this is what Terraform is planning to do. Then let me clear, right? Then let me clear, then I can now do Terraform apply, right? So once I apply it, it's going to provision it in AWS. So Terraform apply, right? Terraform apply, and we'll see it. It will ask us if we want to continue. We'll say yes. And so it says, do you want to perform this action? Terraform will perform the action described above. Only yes will be accepted to approve. So I'll say yes. So once I say yes, okay, let's see. Creating bucket, HTTP response status code. So let's see okay, say bucket already exists. The bucket already exists. So what I can do is that I can change the name. I can change the name of the bucket, because one thing about bucket is that the name have to be globally unique, right? So let me just change the name. I'll just change some stuff. Maybe 012. I'll put this one 01012. Then maybe let me say 12. Then I'll save it just to save. Okay, save. Then let me clear. Then I'll do Terraform apply again. Terraform apply. Let's see. Terraform apply. Okay, let's wait. Then I'll hit yes, type yes. Okay, and now it's creating the bucket. You see that? Creating, right? Creating. So the error we got there was, your bucket name. If you look at this, my new bucket 012, your bucket name have to be uniquely, the name have to be globally unique, right? So that was the reason why we got that. I think that was the reason why we got that error. So now let's go back to our S3 buckets. So this is my S3 bucket. Remember, I created this in US West 2 region, right? If I come back to my S3 bucket, this if you look at this region, right, this is Oregon, this is US West 2 region. So I'm going to reload. So once I reload, you will see that Terraform has provisioned. You see that? You see it here, you see the bucket, and it's just provisioned this bucket. So that's the power of Terraform, right? And if you want to provision maybe more resources, if you want to provision more resources, you can just come to your script. This is your script, right? And you can just add, maybe just copy, enter, paste, and then you can add maybe the resource here, put the name and all that. You just follow Terraform um documentation, and then so that's just the beauty of Terraform, right? It's an infrastructure as a code, right? Instead of provisioning the infrastructure using console, you can just write a script, which is like a code, right? And you can provision your infrastructure. I hope this helps and this gives you a good introduction to Terraform. Thank you.